and welcome to Real Talk Realtor Mama Edition. My name is Samantha. I'm a top real estate agent, entrepreneur, and proud mama of two, here to keep it real about life, business, and everything in between. This is the podcast where we explore challenges and blessings of balancing a thriving career, motherhood, and mental health, all while sharing tips, lessons, and stories to inspire and empower you. Some episodes, I'm joined by incredible guests, experts in finance, motivation, small business owners, and more to bring you insights that'll spark growth and ignite your potential. Sometimes it'll just be me and my strong opinions rambling away, but most importantly, I'm doing this for my own healing and learning and as my way of giving back. If my words or the stories shared here help even one person, then it's worth it to me. So grab your coffee, take a deep breath, and let's dive into today's Real Talk. All right. Hello. Welcome back to Real Talk Realtor Mama Edition. This is episode 6, and today it's just me. I've had a few guests on the podcast recently, but before we have any more amazing guests, I wanted to kind of circle back here and follow up on my first episode. So this is going to be kind of part 2 to the first episode. So the first episode I talked about how I got into real estate and when I got in real estate and why. And this episode I want to talk a little bit more about, okay, what happens when you pass your real estate exam? So this episode is for newer agents or people thinking about getting into the real estate industry. And this is going to be kind of like a little sneak peek into what it really takes in that first year after getting licensed and what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing. And just a little bit about, I guess, what I learned in my first year or so of being a licensed agent. So a lot of people are drawn to the industry because of the glam side of it. You know, it looks like a fun and fabulous career. It looks, from the outside looking in and from, the wonderful perspective that HGTV has given us all. It looks fun, and it is fun in some aspects. But it's definitely not what people think it is, and it's not easy, and it's not a job. Um, when you become a real estate agent, you're a business owner. You're an independent contractor. You're no longer a W-2 employee. You are working for yourself. So you're building a business from the ground up. And many people get into the industry not thinking of it that way. They think that it's, getting licensed and then and selling houses. But there's a whole lot in between getting licensed and even selling your first house that needs to happen, or you won't ever sell that first house. So we're going to be talking about those things. I guess I want to start with, well, let me just say this, and I think I've said this in other episodes. 75% of agents quit or do not make it beyond their first year in real estate. 75%. Then it goes up to 85, 87% of agents don't make it past 5 years. Okay, so we're focusing on that first year right now. All right, so you've decided you are going to get your real estate license. You're taking the courses right now, or you're almost through them. Maybe you've already passed your exam. What should you be doing? Well, the first thing is you need to figure out what brokerage you're going to join with. And yeah, I said that you're not an employee of anyone. You are an independent contractor. However, you do need to hang your license under a brokerage. And by brokerage, I mean EXP, Keller Williams, there's Remax, Coldwell Banker, Berkshire Hathaway. There's a bunch of different brokerages. There's little boutique type brokerages that are not like, they're like not mom and pop type shops, but independently owned brokerages versus like the bigger ones, the franchised ones like Keller Williams and Remax. So do start doing some research, because the first piece to everything once you are licensed is figuring out where you're going to hang your license at. And your brokerage is going to be a huge piece of what's going to help you either succeed or fail in that first year. And what I mean by that is, one of the things that you should be looking for when you are looking into brokerages is guidance, mentorship, training, education. Because truthfully, when you get out of the real estate classes, even when you pass that exam, and I've said this before, it's like all laws and terminology. It is not stuff that you're going to be doing necessarily on a day-to-day basis. They don't teach you how to build your business. They don't teach you how to get clients. They don't teach you how to do the contracts and negotiate the steps of the sale process or a transaction. You're not taught any of that. So education and training, mentorship is definitely something that you need to have on your radar when you are talking to brokerages. Now, when you're talking to when I say when you're talking to brokerages, because you can actually call brokerages up, reach out to them yourself, and let them know that you're interested in scheduling an interview with them. Most people don't know this, but you basically are going to pick what brokerage you get to hang your license at. It's not like you're going to go, you have to apply for a brokerage and then you have to wait and see if you get a call back, and then you have to do, an interview with them, and hopefully you get into the one that you want. No. Brokerages, to put it simply, most of them, at least the majority of them, are looking for numbers. It's a numbers game. They just want as many agents as possible. So in that regard, you get to choose the brokerage that is going to work best for you and that you think is going to help you succeed. So make it a wise decision. And, it's not necessarily, some people make their decision, okay, I know so and so who's at this brokerage. I have a couple friends at this brokerage, like I'm going to go there. But really what you should be thinking about is, okay, it's great if you have some friends there, but are those friends going to be mentoring you? Are they going to be your coaches? Is there training opportunities there? Is there opportunities for you to get further education beyond the classes? Because when you are licensed, once you pass that exam, once you're in the door at your brokerage, your first at least 6 months needs to be education. So, and don't get me wrong, your brokerage is not the only place where you're going to get this further education. You'll also be joining, your local association for realtors, and they, with your membership, they will also provide classes and different training opportunities for you there. So if you are someone who has already joined a brokerage and you're like, crap, I wasn't really thinking about, a mentoring program or training opportunities when I came here, and there's not really a whole lot of that happening right now. But maybe you're not ready to make a move necessarily. Look into your local association, the association that you're a part of, because there is always somewhere for you to be, either going to classes, hopping on a Zoom, watching, recorded webinars, whatever the case may be. And there's a million and one topics to learn about when you get licensed. Trust me. So I kind of like went on a rant there. Brokerage, and I believe it's been a while, but I believe before you can even join your local association and your local MLS, which is the multiple listing service where you will gain access to all of the houses that are listed with real estate agents and public records. Before you can even sign up for those memberships, I believe you have to have your brokerage in place first. So that's really the first step. And honestly, you don't even have to have passed your exam yet. You could still be taking your classes. You could still be trying to pass your exam. It's okay for you to start calling around and start researching different brokerages and interviewing and figuring out, writing the pros and the cons down and figuring out, what you like about different places to find the right fit for you. And you really should start early, before you're licensed, because then once you get licensed, you can really hit the ground running. You already have your brokerage in place so that you can push forward and get your what is it called? Memberships for your associations and all of that. Boom, 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 and then you can hit the ground running with your training. Um so all of that's aside, you have your brokerage, you have your local association, you got your Bright MLS, you got all that situated. All right, you're literally legit now. But what are you gonna do next? So, I mean, a few things you can do these things. And listen, get ahead of the game. I don't care if you're just in classes right now, you can still do probably almost all the things that I'm about to start naming off before you even get licensed. And why not? Like I said, the more you have in place, once you finally do, whenever you do pass that exam, the the better it is for you to be able to just keep things pushing, keep it moving, hit the ground running. So, either before or when you're licensed and with your brokerage, whatever, one of the things you want to start working on, and one of the most important things, and it's going to be a staple to your business, is your database. And the database, or your CRM, as some people will refer to it as, customer relationship management tool. This is basically everyone that you can think of, and as much contact information for them that you can gather. Um, so some people start with their wedding list. That's a great place to start. Their baby shower invite list. Um, and you can use a Google spreadsheet, you can use an Excel spreadsheet, you can get, some other third party client management tool if you would like to. I would suggest keep it as simple as possible. Um, and I'll explain why later, but get some kind of spreadsheet, start plugging in everyone you know. And like I said, if you have been married, if you had a baby shower, if you threw some kind of graduation party, maybe, um, start with that list. Start with all of your family and friends, anybody who you would invite to a wedding or a big party or a celebration of some sort. If you don't have that invitation list already made up, then make one. All of your family and friends. I don't care when you're making this list, I don't want you to think, "Oh, well, Aunt Sally's she's not ever going to be buying a house. She's never going to sell her house. She's dying in that house." Like, it doesn't matter. You want everyone in there. Your hairdresser, your nail tech, people at the gym, your kids, mom group, whatever. Anybody you can think of. Get their names, get their numbers, get their email addresses, get their addresses in there as much as you can. Now, maybe you can't get everybody's address, okay? Maybe it's creepy to ask for I don't know, your nail tech's address, like, randomly. It'll come with time, but at least write her name down to know, like, to know that eventually you wanna get her the rest of her contact information, because what it comes down to is these people, no, maybe they're not gonna be buying and selling from you ever, but guess what? Every single person that you know knows someone that's gonna be buying or selling a house within the next few months, year, couple years. Everyone you know knows other people that are gonna be buying a house. So that is why it's important to start with the people closest to you and just work your way out and just build that database from day one, um, and try to keep it as organized as possible. And I say to put it into so I made the mistake that I made was, well, first of all, I didn't begin to build my database before I got into the mix of things. I was licensed for probably a month or so and, doing my little training classes, learning about databases and stuff like that before I even started to build my database. And I started to build it in my brokerage's CRM. So I built this and, I was with this first brokerage for 4 years. So my first 4 years of building my business, every single one of my contacts was in there. So it was a lot of people. And what's a pain in the butt, what I wish that I had started with something simpler that I could just easily, you know, transfer if needed. But if you start your CRM with your brokerage and you end up ever moving for whatever reason, because you never know, um, then that stuff is it can be really a pain to transfer it over to the next CRM that you're going to use if you're going to use, the next brokerage's CRM. Um, I just think that it's important to maybe have that neutral database. So like I said, Google spreadsheets, Excel spreadsheets. Some people like to use like Trello boards, which I'm not that fancy yet, but I hear it's a really good system. Um, all right, so you start to build your database, you're plugging in people, and it doesn't have to be awkward. Like the next time you're at a family get together or something, start talking about how you're getting licensed and start collecting. Be like, listen, would you mind if every once in a while I sent you something related to my real estate business or the market? Like, can I get your email? Like, don't be awkward, don't be shy about it because I mean, it's just don't, okay? So, all right, moving on. Create an email that is specifically for your real estate business because, you, you just don't want to start real estate doing real estate things from like, sexy Sam XXX9 at AOL.com. Like that's we don't need your email from when you were 14. Um Something professional, something maybe real estate related, or maybe, just something simple, as simple and professional as you can. I suggest you creating a Gmail account and making it a Google business page, because having some type of internet presence and building that internet presence as you build your real estate career is going to be really important and crucial in gaining traction with new clients. So start as early as you can, create a new Gmail, make it a Google business page, and create a bio and put it on that Google business page. So creating a bio is something that you don't have to have years of experience in real estate to make a decent bio. Um, Use GPT, use AI if you need to. Look at other real estate agents examples, like look at what other people do and what they have on their bio. You don't have to have real estate experience to write things about yourself in your bio that are relevant to real estate. And what I mean by that is like, so before I had the real estate experience, I talked about how I had over 15 years of customer service experience. um and you talk about your other strengths and your other experience. Um, so use Chat GPT. Like I said, I keep wanting to say chat. I don't know what the hell I want to say, but it's not coming out right. Um, Create a bio, and you want to put that on your Google business page, but you also want to keep that cohesive with your other pages and profiles that you're going to be setting up. So, speaking of having an internet presence, whether or not you are into social media, when you're building a business, you really should be, because that's what today is. Everybody's on social media. You don't have to use just one specific platform. You can grow your business on LinkedIn. You can grow your business on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok. There's so many different platforms and ways to use them to help you grow your business, essentially for free. So I highly suggest that if you don't already have a social media account, start one as soon as possible. Um, if you do have a social media account, start and you don't necessarily post or do too much on there. I don't know what you do on there. Maybe you post, but you post some crazy stuff. Maybe you're posting like some raunchy shit. Um, Start to slowly ease your way out of that persona if that's what you're doing right now. Because you have to remember that your internet presence is going to be very important when you're building your business, gaining traction with new clients. So start to build up that social media presence on whatever platform it is that you're planning on using. And you don't try to do them all. I grew my business 90% of my clients in the first at least 2 years were people that I connected with over Facebook somehow or found me over Facebook. That is the platform that I grew my business on. It was free. And it was, for me, it was easy. It doesn't come easy for everybody, but we'll have other episodes where we're talking about social media and being authentically you and building relationships on social media. But for me, that's what I did. For anybody who wants to use social media, I highly recommend at least starting out that way, or at least incorporating it into your game plan of building your business, because it's free and it's easy and there's so much that you can do with it. Um, but anyway, so your social media, you're going to start to kind of build that up. And what I mean is like plug your bio in there, like start to clean it up a little bit. Like if you're used to posting like half naked pictures, like stop. Like just be appropriate with what you're posting. If you're like posting a lot of political stuff, like don't do that. People want to work with people that they know, like, and trust, and I'll say this a million times again. Um, so really the point of social media for you is not do you hear my dog in the background? Oh my gosh. The point of social media is not going to be for you to post houses that you have for sale or something. Like that's not the point of social media. Really is to connect with more people and build a relationship with people. And that is how you get business through social media. So just keep in mind when people are coming across your page um how they're going to look at it. Do you look like a professional? Do you look like somebody who they could like and trust and potentially want to work with? um I Before I got into real estate, I posted a lot about my kids and my son because that was my that's my world. That's really all I had going for me. Um, so that's what I posted a lot about, and everybody knew, the people that knew me from social media knew that I had like this cute little boy with this big personality. And I made a lot of friends that way too. Mom friends, right? Because I posted a lot of relatable things that other mothers could relate to. So if you are somebody that has a hobby or that you're really into something in particular, or you're really into sports, or maybe I don't know, I can't think now. I'm like having a brain fart. But lean into who you are. If you don't know what to post about who you are and the things that you do and the things that you like and the reason you want to get into real estate or whatever. I mean, don't say like I ate blueberry waffles today. You know what I mean? You got to learn how to be interested. But also, if you are not really fluent in social media, you don't really know where to start or what to do, start looking at other people's pages. Start looking at other real estate agents who are successful, who are where you want to be, who are doing the things that you want to do. Start looking at their pages and what they're doing and what they're posting and just follow along. Now don't if they like tennis and you don't like tennis, like don't start posting about tennis, but you get my drift, right? And if you don't like maybe you shouldn't be here. It's like um but anyway, so really start to work on that social media presence, with the Google, with whatever social media platform you intend to potentially start on or use. So, like I said, I used Facebook to really build the foundation of my business. Now I'm more on Instagram. I have gained some business through TikTok as well. Um, so whatever, whatever floats your boat, but start working on something somewhere. Don't try to do it all. One last piece to the internet presence thing. When you do have your license, you want to create real estate profiles on the public real estate websites, such as Google, Trulio, Realtor.com. Not Google. I didn't mean to say Google. I meant to say Zillow. Um, Realtor profiles, real estate agent profiles. You're going to have to plug in your real estate agent license number and everything. You want this because that's where a lot of people start. And listen, I'm not saying pay for Zillow leads. Do not do that. Don't I mean I'm sorry. If you have money that and you can do that, go right ahead, but I don't suggest paying for any leads, especially when you're new. Um I'm just saying create a free real estate profile on those public search engines. Plug your stuff in, copy and paste your bio that you already have written for your other platforms, and just make sure that you are there because it just helps with the algorithm of things. And that's where consumers are a lot of the time in the beginning. And you just want to have some kind of presence. Um, all right, what else? What else? So, speaking of presence, branding and figuring out, I mean, you're selling yourself. You're not selling houses, really. You're selling yourself because, again, people want to know who people want to work with who they know, like, and trust, right? So, make yourself likable, make yourself relatable. And if you're not, maybe if you're not likable, if you're not relatable, I don't know who's going to want to work with you. I'm not trying to be rude, but like, don't take advice from me if that's the case, because I don't know how to help you. Um, some things you can't teach, right? No, I'm sorry. Let me stop. Brand yourself. Begin to brand yourself. What do you want to represent? Who do you want to help? Who are the type of people you want to work with? What do you want people to, when they come across your website or your social media, like what do you want them to see and feel and think about you? Um, that's going to make them want to, pick up the phone and call you maybe and ask you questions about real estate. Like get some brand pictures and or headshots, get some professional pictures done. What you don't want to do is, when you're ready to get your business cards or whatever you're going to get, is have some like random selfie on them. It doesn't look nice. So get some headshots, start working on your image, get a couple little nice business casual outfits. You don't have to be dressed to the nine, but when you're going out to network in the beginning and meet people and trainings and stuff, um, get those pictures done. I think one of the things I want to backtrack a little bit too, as you're deciding to get into real estate, while you're in the classes, whatever, before you quit another job or whatever the case may be, when you're getting into this, you need to be prepared to not have an income for at least 6 months. You need to be prepared to go to work every day, bust your butt to build your business from the ground up, and not get paid. This is a long game. And if you are starting out with no cushion, you're going to have a hard time making it. So, I think something that's very important to start out with is some kind of cushion when you're getting into real estate. Like you really should have maybe at least like 6 months or so of expenses saved up, set aside, or some way that you're going to be supplementing your income while you're working every day and building your career until you get to that first settlement that's going to, hopefully hold you over until your second one. And really, when that ball gets rolling, it's rolling. I had my first settlement 6 months in, and then I had two and three like that very next month. Um, just make sure that you're prepared financially, or you have, I had a spouse at the time that was able to cover our bills, and we sat down before I quit my job, and we looked at our finances, and we said, all right, can we even do this? Can I? Because I knew going into it I wasn't going to be making money right away. It was going to take a while. So I sat down and we made sure that we could financially stay afloat for a while until I started making money. And don't get me wrong, like a few, it was a few months in, I still wasn't making money. I was hustling every day. I had a baby on my hip. And we were living off credit cards. We started living off credit cards for a while, and we did get into, a little bit of debt, until I finally got to the point where I was really, having settlements and bringing income in. So make sure you're prepared for that, because if not, I think that's one of the biggest reasons that people don't make it is they get to the point where they're like, crap, I got to get a job. And then once you get that job and you go back to, whatever it was, it's really hard to get out of that cycle again and then refocus back on, building your business. Um, so we talked about training and shadowing and mentoring. We talked about, branding a little bit and internet presence and the importance of all of that database. Um, I think one of the last things I will touch on for this episode, and then we will have a part two. um, you really need to focus on in the beginning and as you're going and as you're learning and going and whatever, moving through the motions, is developing processes for yourself and for your clients. Um, you should be hosting open houses. Hopefully some of those agents that you shadowed early on will allow you to host some of their open houses for listings that they have coming up, because that's a great opportunity to get out there, to start having conversations, to maybe meet a new client or two. And that is going to be one of your first, that should be one of your first processes and systems that you set into place. What you're going to do for each open house, how you set up, how you market for it, what things you'll print, what things you'll have with you, and things of that nature. What your follow-up system's going to look like. And if you don't know, you better sign up for a class about open houses. Like, this is the thing. So start develop those processes around the activities you're going to be doing to build your business. The earlier you start writing stuff down, saving stuff, or s- saving it in a file, whether you're a notebook person, or I like to save a lot in my Google Drive, and I make little Word document SOPs for things as I go. Any processes surrounding like whatever your lead generation techniques are going to be, or your whatever you're going to do to gain business. My game plan was social media. I educated people through my social media as I was learning, pretty much, and also posted about my life and my son. Um, and I was consistent with it. So figure out what your game plan is going to be that you can be, that's sustainable, that you can be consistent with as well, and create a process around it. A transaction checklist. What are the things you are going to do once you, even start working with a buyer, showing them houses, even start working with the seller. And then once you get them under contract, what are the things you have to do when you're walking through that transaction? Create those checklists as you're learning, as you're shadowing other agents, as you're going to classes, like create processes like that for yourself. Even like buyer and seller packets. When you have an initial appointment with a buyer, you should have, or with a seller, you should have some information printed for them to look at, some things, some visuals, some lists, some checklists, some maybe market research. But creating processes around your buyer appointments and your seller appointments, even before you have them. You should have your processes in place. You should figure out, like, all right, what if somebody asks me to list their house? What am I going to do? Like, you got to figure those things out before it happens. Because then if it happens and you don't know what to say or what to do, you're going to fumble that. And I'm guarantee you need that sale. So we don't got time to be fumbling our first few leads because we're not educated or properly prepared for them. I could go on forever, but I think that's enough for this episode. Those are just some of the first few things. There's going to be many episodes to follow this that we're going to really start to dig into all of the stuff that real estate agents do, all of the hats we wear, all of the jobs that we have, um, and how to manage it all. But this episode is just the tip of the iceberg. Um, so get started and good luck. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to reach out to people. People, I mean, like agents or other leaders in the industry that are doing what you want to do. And if they're rude, then screw them. But 8 out of 10 of them will be pretty cool and will answer your questions and let you shadow or whatever the case may be. Um, Collaboration over competition. So, yeah, I'm going to leave it there. Can't wait to see you guys at the next episode. Bye. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Real Talk Realtor Mama Edition. I hope you found a little inspiration, some fresh ideas, and maybe even had a few laughs along the way. If today's episode resonated with you at all, please subscribe, leave a review, and feel free to share it with someone who might need a little real talk in their life. Follow me on social media. My handle is the same everywhere at Realtor Mama. It's MAMA. Remember, we're all in this together, learning, growing, and finding our way one day at a time. Until next time, keep showing up, keep being real, and keep chasing your dreams. This is Samantha signing off with gratitude and love. See you next time on Real Talk Realtor Mama Edition.